All right, and we're back for our game break. I've got nothing. Do you want? Is there anything to talk about here, Avril? Should we just move on to the next series?
Well, kind of, because I'll talk about the rest of Seoul. Spend a little bit of time on them because we talked about the comedy of what just happened there for the Hunters, and I said this to you during the break, but it's like it's tragic, but then also at the same time, if you look at it from the perspective of a comedy like The Room, then it is pretty funny. So that being the case,
this was a similar quality.
We just, by the way, there's one cool thing we just saw there in the replay that we didn't even catch live because obviously the POV wasn't there. But there was that extremely clutch Diva defense matrix from Smurf onto Prophet, who was on like 5 HP on the Ana. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
But that aside, but that's the kind of thing, right? Like everyone really pulled weight. This was the hardest play of the match to call. For the Seoul Dynasty, because it's like, well, everyone did well. Today wasn't even like oh yeah, Stalker destroyed them. Stalker's still on his given role. The Genji popped off, clearly. But Fitz had a great game. I thought the Tracer actually worked well in terms of the overall macro strategy. Has some risk, but I can see the planning there. I can see what it's trying to achieve and why you would play that. The Smurf Diva ended up forcing Jimmu off the Fire alongside with Fitz going towards the Ashe, which he had a great time on today. Prophet Break, once again, proves and shows that it's not more than just good. It's forced to be reckoned with. Like he continues to pull major weight, and he really does, in some ways, play the Brig in such an offensive style that it does remind me of, the Brig players from 2019 in the GOATS comp specifically, where it did feel very offensive. And here you have Prophet on the last map of Dorado. He's got almost as many final blows as Fitz, just down by 1. More final blows than Smurf. Generally some pretty reasonable damage coming out of Prophet with no deaths. Like, he just doesn't die as well. This guy has very low deaths, and I think that's something you have to think about in a meta where most teams would probably target the Brig as a primary player and a primary hero to get down. Prophet staying alive as much as he does is incredible. And then obviously Vindame at the end with what he does on that Ajax and how good he is just generally on his position. Second time he's done that now to a support player. The first of which was Lee Jae-gon, which is one of the best ones out there, and Vindame generally just being a strong player for this team. I mean, everybody played well. It was a whole team diff versus Chengdu, and it was if I could get everybody play the match, I would, because this is like a whole team play of the match.
Yeah, I would say that this is a very worrisome start for the side of the Chengdu Hunters, because we know that these players are infinitely better than what we saw here on display today. So maybe just need to get that first loss out of the way and then can find their footing from here. But something definitely is going to have to change, and it's going to have to change very quickly if they want to find success here in this meta. Because right now, it's not going anywhere. You can try to go back to the Pharah, Genji, Winston all you want, but in the end, there is only Junker Queen. Everything leads to there. All roads lead to Junker Queen. So we'll see. We'll have to keep our eyes trained on them, see whether or not they can put up some stronger performances. I think it's pretty much impossible to not put up a stronger performance. And even matching what we saw here today would still be quite the feat. So I'm expecting more from the Chengdu Hunters moving forward, but the Dynasty right now very much still reaffirming themselves as the top dog here in APAC. But of course, do we always have the Shanghai Dragons, who are looking to challenge for that spot, and they're going to be coming up in our next series up against the Hangzhou Sparks. So don't go anywhere, guys. The action continues in just a few minutes. And we are back. It's time to go into our second series of the evening. We've got the Hangzhou Spark looking to bounce back after their 0-3 loss to the Seoul Dynasty just yesterday. Now taking on the Shanghai Dragons, who in their own right looked absolutely impeccable yesterday. Granted, versus an opponent that hasn't been able to put up significant numbers, but we have to see what happens now that they square off.
Yeah, and Spark definitely struggled yesterday versus the Seoul Dynasty, and I think now when you look at how good Seoul Dynasty were in just our previous series, it's not like a wild consideration. Seoul are trying to make a argument to be the #1 team in the region once again, especially with Spark kind of being taken out of the picture early. Chengdu just being dismantled there. Their opponents left to kind of get through would be Shanghai, would be #1 on the list, and debatably how Fusion look as well. We still have to see how they go when they play versus Valiant just after this. But Seoul currently looking like #1 unless Shanghai can do something about it. And I did a little bit of research, Helios, during the break just to check league records for Dorado. Based on stats from all other seasons prior to this one, the fastest Dorado completion was between Atlanta versus Vancouver. Atlanta beating Vancouver in 2021 last year, and it was a 419 cap with a 341 time bank. So Seoul Dynasty just blew that record out of the water. Seoul Dynasty got a 417 time bank with a 343 cap. So by like 30 seconds
40.
or so, like more than 30 seconds even, they blew that record out. Now, however, I do have to say StatSlab is not updated for 2022, so we don't actually know what the current records having that impacted by 2022 results. So unless you know, anyone out there, not even just you, Achilles, but anyone out there knows of another Dorado play this year that was faster than a 417 time bank, this is literally not only the league record, but I think a world record for Dorado as well.
Yeah, I can't think of any other Dorados, especially at least in the APAC region, that would have been this one-sided. Typically, going into the final stretch, you say like, oh wow, like they have 3 minutes. It's a good amount of time to finish this, or they complete the map with 3 minutes. You're like, damn, that's a big time bank. Yeah, Dynasty absolutely just shattered that. So I would not be shocked. I'm sure that Hex and everybody getting ready for the pre-show later for North America will probably crunch the numbers and make sure that we are correct. And if it is, they can celebrate a nice little world record established here on the broadcast this evening. But yeah, it was incredible to see. But now we're going to go ahead and jump in and focus in on this next series, which should be closer, cross my fingers, that it is. But we'll take a look at the starting five at the side of the Shanghai Dragons, and it's not going to provide any surprises whatsoever for anyone who did tune in just yesterday. Void looking incredible as well in his own right on the Junker Queen. Who are you? Continuing to be one of the cleanest Genjis that we've had, period, in the league. Not just in APAC, but just across the board.
He's looking like the best. On the eye test, Who Are You is looking like the best. Shanghai is going to be a rough team to beat this meta. And I had an inkling. I had the feeling before we even saw yesterday's game that Shanghai would have come on in. Who Are You gets to come off the bench, play his best hero, a hero that really carried the Shanghai Dragons through in the kickoff clash to great success. And in my mind, if they can just do that again, I can't see Shanghai failing. Unless it's to somebody like Seoul or a better team. So they are having to play up against more and more difficult competition, though. So here's a big test for Shanghai because, okay, well, you beat up Guangzhou 3-0. That's one thing. Now do it versus somebody else because Seoul just beat Spark 3-0. So this is a bit of a litmus test. You can use Hangzhou as a bit of a comparison marker for both these teams.
Yeah, well, we'll see how they fare. And whether or not Alpha is back, because I haven't gotten confirmation on that. One would assume that we probably won't be able to see him until next week, and yeah, there you go. It's going to be Architect, who will be starting once more. He did have, a decent performance on the Genji, was able to come up with multiple kills for his squad, but unfortunately just wasn't enough. We didn't see the same, kind of level of cohesion and whatnot from this five-man setup that we are used to seeing when Alpha is playing in the DPS role.
And one other thing to consider as well, it's not just about Architect covering for Alpha Yi here, but because both Alpha Yi and Irony were in quarantine, both traveling from Korea to China to join the team in the Bilibili facility in Hangzhou, they wouldn't have had the time to scrim with the team or do anything to get ready for this competition, to this opening week of play. So it's not just that Alpha Yi isn't here, but even though Irony is here, he just hasn't been working with the team in the Junker Queen meta to get ready for this week because he's been busy traveling and living in quarantine. So yeah, it just doesn't surprise me that Spark don't have it all quite together yet, given that they are less prepared in this meta with scrim time because of players being missing and still having players missing. So it's looking like a bit of a rough week for the Hangzhou Spark. I think the silver lining is, not to count them out, but this is a very tough match for them. If they do lose today, again, they will have at least lost to the two best teams, and when they sort of get their act together in future weeks, they can maybe beat the other, 4 teams and still have a reasonable record to go through for a potential tournament qualification.
Yeah, I mean, aside from, like you said, you get these two out of the way. Fusion, maybe a team, depending on how they look in this meta, could give you a run for your money, give you a tough time. But if you can take them down, I don't think you're too concerned about what you just witnessed from the side of the Chengdu Hunters, as well as the Charge and whatnot. We still have yet to see the Valiant, so they're a little bit of an unknown quantity in their own right. But we'll have to just wait and see if the Hangzhou Spark, can bounce back, if they can put up a stronger performance. Because one of the biggest things that really was punishing them was Dynasty's consistent ability to get on top of Shy and take him out early. They were focus firing the hell out of him. He did not get to find too much value. You can see when he was alive, when he was playing that Sojourn, he was coming up with fantastic headshots, grabbing picks for his squad, but more often than not, it was Dynasty getting right up on him and being able to take him out of the fight before it even really began. So if they can protect him a bit better, if Architect can play out these neutral fights a little bit more cleanly, find more value on that Genji, I think that Spark absolutely have a fighting chance. But it is the Dragon, so their work is cut out for them.
Yeah, I mean, if Stalker does that, who are you could probably do that as well, and maybe even then some. So Shy is, not just Shy, but the rest of the team protecting Shy as well. They got to be able to keep him up, keep your star player up and available to make sure he can get the damage done. Who are you? He's prepping. He's got to keep his cybernetic eyes oiled up.
Yeah.
He's got to grease it all up, and he's meditating. He's ready. He's got the hair clips in to expose the cranium a little bit more. He's got to allow the brain to expand. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be blocking your brain expansion. Keep it clear.
His third eye is going to open on his forehead, and that's how he makes all the plays that he's able to make. He's just got that. He would just have to wait and see it happen. It's going to be like it's a Hiei and Yu Hakusho, and the eyeball just opens up there. Well, let's see what happens, though, as we jump into the action.
Thoroughly enjoying the double home team colors as well. So,
yeah.
Goodbye away white colors that I can't read. Let's go into our opening map here. Just very quickly before we get in, because I know people are going to at me on Twitter in just a hot second. But I got baited by Stats Lab. When you include all the stats from all the seasons, Boston Shanghai was technically faster by 6 seconds. There was a 4:11 time back. Boston versus Shanghai in 2018. Boston the attacker. That's the only record that is better. So their sole record, though, that's still number 2 of all time. Number 2 of all time.
Okay. Also, it was the 2018 Shanghai. So, there's some caveats. But, for a modern-day record to be set like that, truly incredible. Who are you? Already getting on top of Shy.
It's just like yesterday.
Talking about. Yep, need to be able to protect this man if you want to find success. So far, does not work out. Very forward and aggressive chase here from the side of the Dragons. Who are you just trying to get every little ounce of value that he can, build up towards that Dragon Blade just a little bit faster. Point now going to be unlocked. They will go ahead and be able to get this first cap with relative ease.
Wow. And as we expected as well, who are you way ahead of Architect? I mean, he kind of did that in his opening match versus Tracer 1 as well. So another historically good Genji player that he is currently dipping as far as damage output. Burnout super low, but he lives.
Just find one. Shy going to be able to get a kill before he gets taken down by Who Are You, who then follows up with a second. Tries to kite out, the health pack not there, joins in with a J-Gun with a healing through, but it's not going to be enough to keep him alive. So it's a quick turnaround here for the side of the Spark. Good early kills to allow them to still win out the fight. Yeah,
that was great by Burnout, staying alive, then gets the axe kill as well. So very critical HP, could have been finished off. Survives, doesn't allow Shanghai to have much more than 22% on that marker, which is, it's reasonable, but it will be overtaken in a hot second while you're about to have that play. So in a meta where it's rare to see any player have an ultimate, 2 to 3 fights in, I mean, this is just great pace.
And it is. Rail at the ready. Who Are You? Pulling the blade, looking for a target, dashes in. Irony once more going to be taken out, and there's Shy again. Finds the same duo of players for his eliminations. AJ Gon finds Super Rich in the back end. The flip is there, and once more it seems like Dragons in control will be able to retake the lead for themselves.
You see that Super Rich was on 99% as well, dying, so it's like the margins are so slim. The fact that Who Are You is just ever so slightly outpacing other players, not even Architect, but the supports most importantly, because had that gone for a little bit longer, had Who Are You waited to pull the blade a bit longer, maybe Super Rich gets that sound barrier in time, it's a different fight entirely. The fact that Shanghai Dragons can just rely on one player to outpace everybody, just gives them so much to work with.
Rally rolling here from Irony. Izayaki not quite having his own yet. Who Are You? Going to get pressured out. The Dragon Blade actually going to take him down. Bernard with a nice pick. Sound Barrier is still going to be committed to the fight. Now going to be matched by Super Rich. Blade is there from Architect. He gets zoned back away. Bernard, however, still finding a second follow-up kill here in the fight. So they do manage to win this one out. Still making their way over steadily towards the point, however. Lip won't punish Shy. With Void taken down, however, it seems like that should be just about enough for the Hangzhou Spark to be able to flip this back into favor, but you can see that the Dragons are still going to keep contesting this one. Who Are You? Dashing forward, playing on the opposite side of the pillar, just breaking line of sight, trying to make sure that they can gain as much percentage here as humanly possible. But the Spark do manage to snatch it away, and with Lee Jae-gon going down, the rest of the team will retreat.
Yeah, I was going to say that's ballsy from the Shanghai Dragons as well because they don't have Void, so until Void returns on the JQ, you can't really contest properly. You're kind of just dipping a toe in and out, but somebody's eventually going to get punished because Hangzhou Spark. All they have to do is rush in as 5. I mean, you don't have a tank, we do. We can just get in your face. Lee Jae-gon does get punished, and now the reset is a full 5, but they have a lot of ultimates.
Okay, well, Rampage, big value. Managing to find 4. Izayaki the only one eluding that. Architect, however, diving forward, still going to get cut down to size. Shy sliding away. Overclock still there for him for just a little bit longer, but it's going to be Lip who comes up with kills. Doesn't even have to utilize the ult. Just takes out Super Rich with a nice little headshot. Looks for a little bit more. Shy quite far forward. The pressure comes in, he's not going to be able to escape. So before they can retake the lead here, the Spark going to lose the point. Shanghai back in control, taking this to final fight territory.
And this is the ultimate difference as well, because Hangzhou Spark, despite winning an earlier fight to take them to 76, right, they spent 3 ultimates to 1 and still lost Shy in that fight on the retreat. So that's why Shanghai Dragons have returned, even with Lee Jae-gon dead. They have way more ultimates, now final fight like you said, and we have Rampage, Overclock, no defenses from the Spark. They're just going to have to take this one on the chin, or not even touch.
Yeah. Won't be able to get there in time. Super Rich just a little bit too late. Still, keeping it widely competitive here are the Spark. That's just going to be the first round out of the way. So now we shift away from Control Center. Let's see what we get. Will it be Gardens? No, it's going to be Night Market. That's the staging ground. It's nice, or Dragons rather, look for a 2-0.
And I think in the ending of that Control Center as well, you know, you might be thinking the C9, you might be spamming it in the chat, but like honestly, I don't think it made a difference. Had Hangzhou contested, they eat the Rampage and the Overclock, they lose anyway. I think there was a minute chance of Spark doing anything useful in that final fight. Shanghai out-macroed them economically since from first fight to last fight. And now as we head over towards Gardens, see if we get more of the same. Remember, Shy got first blooded out the gate almost instantly by Who Are You on Control Center. So once more, you have to do a lot to keep him alive. Currently, they're going to be taking the coastal route.
Whoa. Okay.
He's a Lucio, he's fine.
Little scary moment there, though, for Super Rich. He manages to stabilize, get himself back onto solid ground as the poking and prodding now begins. And the inside track on the point. Just trying to make his way forward, takes a nasty shot. Commanding shout going to be used now by Bernard. Irony again going to get isolated, gets taken down, but Architect is making up for it. Izayaki and Lip both now eliminated. Who Are You, however? He's got a couple members corralled here into the corner with a little bit of reinforcement. They should be able to take him down, and there it is. Void arrives, they find the kills. Architect trying to fight back. Go ahead, get rid of the tank, and I don't think there's going to be too much that Who Are You can do here versus Bernard, so we'll just go ahead and make his leave. Spark should be able to go ahead and lock this point down.
On a 1 versus 1. It's going to be too hard for Who Are You to even accomplish. So the first cap going the way of the Hangzhou Spark. Credit to Architect who got a double kill there, but notice that even with Architect getting frags, Who Are You still comes out ahead, even just slightly. So the damage output is great. Lip gets a shot into Shy. See the first blood.
Yep, that's going to allow him to take the lead as well for the Overclock. Throws down the nade, goes sliding backward. Perfect timing as well, because Architect was coming in from the flank to try to get the punish. He eludes that. Now Irony dead. Bernard out of the fray as well. Cleanup will just be coming through here. Super Rich going to try to make his exit. Health pack wasn't there for him. A couple shurikens would finish the job. Can't quite line him up. The flip is there. Dragons now in control. Only 25% set up here for the Spark.
Yeah, Who Are You just going over the lip to try and get some extra ult charge. You can see that he's 95, right? So just doing what he can to collect a couple more. His dash was actually on cooldown. That's why he couldn't secure the kill into Super Rich. Otherwise, he 100% would have gone in. Now that he has a Blade 20% ahead of Architect, it's Blade time for sure. First ultimate of the round.
Oh, boy. Oh, Bernard backed up there into the corner. Who are you still will fall. Bernard just cutting back into his team, manages to pull the axe, finds that kill. Rally now rolling down from Izayaki. They want to continue to fight this out and look for the win. Overclock as well, going to get popped. The sound barriers there from Super Rich. Now it's going to be the Dragons who are on the back foot. Have to pull away from this position. Still a good amount of damage getting pumped out into them. Irony nearly take it down. That rally almost got canceled. And he will thank his lucky stars that it did not. So now they continue to push forward. A Rampage available as Void will fall. Bernard, he might not even need to use this. So for the fight still happening very much away from the points, and the Dragons continue to tick up, but Spark winning it out like this seems rather good for them. The ante now out onto 4 players. All 4 that were left alive. They do successfully pull away, but as I say it, Izayaki will die right on the back end.
You can't afford to have Izayaki die because Void just got back. They don't have 5. Yeah. They needed all players alive, and now they're just kind of having kills go awry. Who are you? That's a bit of a misstep. Decides to go in and just feed. So that is a big blow to the Shanghai Dragons, considering they otherwise were in a reasonable spot. They had the sound barrier just running out as the bleed damage was falling off as well. So 4 members anti, 4 members low, but had they survived with Void coming back in, put in a reset, actual 5v5 gameplay after that, then they're okay. Now they're behind. Now they'll get overtaken.
Okay, Void, look at the
poop again.
What?
The table
my God, the poop. It denies everything away, yeah. It's knocked back behind the table, cannot charge forward, so the Rampage not going to be able to find anything. We'll see if that matters, as the Genji's so far going to be traded out, but Lip manages to help trade up. Takes down Shy. Turn their sights over towards the point, as well as the remaining members here on the side of the Spark. Lip, low HP. He is limit testing like an absolute madman. Down to 8 HP, but they finally will be able to go ahead and top him back up. The Flip about to be there. Spark, they recontest for just a brief little moment here, but if they exit the point for any period of time, yeah, the cap is going to be there. Izayaki moves forward, does find Bernard. Now the rest of the chase comes in as the Dragons, they want this big punish. Lip, however, is still going to get taken down. And will manage to get Shy in the exchange. Dash away. Architect staying at an arm's length, making sure that Void cannot strike him down.
Yep, they're going to chase him down now as well, with Irony and the rest of the squad coming on in. Izayaki turns it. Rally on the opposite end, and we're just trading places. Who has to be forcing the choke? Currently it's Hangzhou Spark trying to get out of it. We'll be fighting fight territory in just a few as well as we reach towards that 99%.
Crucially, yep, this blade is here, but it is going to be the sound barrier in response. Super Rich trying to keep everybody safe, where you continues to just plus forward, trying to find some kills, and actually got Shy into a corner, had him low, but he's not going to be able to get him. But yeah, somebody needs a touch, as you say. Super Rich is on his way as his Architect, so they have the 2-man touch. Now they're looking for the flip. The rejoin is there. Lee Jig on, denying them from being able to take this for now. Lip, a bit of an awkward spot, takes the slide over to the side, joins back in, gets some heals. Super Rich now taken down. A lot of the delay denied away from the side of the Spark, and that's all of the delay now taken out. And it will, in fact, be that 2-0, but 2 fairly close rounds, very back and forth between these 2 squads. Once more, at least here on control. Hangzhou Spark are showing signs of life. They're looking cleaner, looking a bit more cohesive than what we saw even yesterday. Question is, does it continue as we move into different map types?
Well, they're looking like they're able to put some damage, and I will say the one difference maker just in that argument is that Hangzhou Spark did actually take a round of Assault Dynasty on early goals yesterday. Here, they unfortunately do go down 0-2 in our opening map, so that's maybe one difference. However, I would say despite going down 0-2, there were some reasonable moments there. But even the worst moments for Shanghai, to speak to them a little bit here, even the worst moments for Shanghai, including the Izayaki being caught out at the wrong time there on one of the last fights, to Who Are You then feeding after that as well, to Void getting booped and slamming his Rampage into a desk. Even those worst moments occurring, Shanghai still stabilized. They still never allowed the game to get out of their hands, slip through their fingers. They still held the game and controlled the game firmly within their grip, despite all the worst moments happening, and they just recovered. Really great teams showing good macro decision-making to recover in situations that look bad to still get a win.
Yeah, but also not infallible. We did see some boneheaded moves there from the side of the Dragons. Who Are You? Overextending, getting picked off moments after Izayaki had died at that crucial juncture. So they need to tighten up in that regard on the side of the Dragons if they want to be able to take this cleanly. Otherwise, if they continue to give avenues of approach over to Spark like that, they're absolutely going to grab them and run with them. So we'll see if the Dragons can tighten up and go ahead and also, look to deliver yet another 3-0, or if the Hangzhou Spark are going to be able to fight back. We're going to the hybrid next. We'll see what happens when we return. Alrighty, we are back. Only one map into this second series of the evening. The Shanghai Dragons do manage to take a victory on Lijiang Tower over the likes of the Hangzhou Spark, but it's not without contention. This was definitely not a one-sided affair. Definitely some mistakes being made there at times for both squads, but also some really nice outplays at the side of the Hangzhou Spark. Just unfortunately not quite enough to be able to get that initial win.
And I want to give a little bit of kudos over to Lip on the Shanghai Dragons because he had a pretty damn good game on Ilios. Lijiang Tower. Given that, after yesterday's match, he went on Twitter, he said he was personally disappointed with his performance. He felt like he didn't play well. He comes in firing on all cylinders here. He gets more damage than who are you, equal eliminations, and the best part is he only had 2 deaths, which is the lowest deaths on the server, next to Lee Jae-gon with 2 as well. Lip had a crazy amount of output. He had a number of first blood kills onto players like Shy. Speaking of Shy, Shy's damage is still comparable. He's still got like a reasonable amount of final blows, but he's got 10 deaths. It's 5 final blows to 10 deaths, and everybody else on his team, despite losing, only has 5 deaths. So it's Arctic Burner, Irony, Super Rich all on 5, Shy on 10. That is, again, how hard teams are targeting him. Yesterday, Stalker and Soul Dynasty just ran towards Shy. Here, between Lip, Who Are You, and the rest, Shanghai Dragons, doing the same thing, shutting down Shy, and he's getting shut down. He's getting shut down twice as hard as any other member on his team.
Yep. Is the win condition, and looks like we have gone ahead and swapped the skin colors up here to make it a little bit more watchable for you guys. Don't worry, got your back. See what happens. It looks like Lip's going to be opening up with a Widow shot.
I'm just going to...
You know who's playing.
I don't know who's playing on Spark anymore.
You tell me you don't have all of this memorized?
Could be anybody. Alpha, you could have subbed in. I don't know. I can't see it. So...
Well, I can tell you that he is still going to be...
Okay, so we're going... We're back onto Part A, so hopefully we'll see a little bit more of the map this time. In our previous game, we only got to see the point A, and that was it. So how did the favelas look? How does Lucio's club look?
Well, right now it's all looking pretty decent on the approach. As Lip will find first blood. Bernard going to be taken down first and foremost. Who Are You? Again, just trusting in his healers. Pushes forward. Continues to play aggressively. He's not been able to find a target so far. And now they will go ahead and spot him out. Lee Jae-gon going to be the only casualty so far. As it looks like that might just be the breakthrough that they needed. And the cap will come through onto point A. So yay, we get to see more of the map. Huzzah!
That was so quick as well. All right. Have you seen the Carnival float? Enjoy that.
All right.
Plays music. Because a little bit of fun fact. Plays music for you.
I mean, obviously, like because I had my hand broken for everybody watching. Like I wasn't able to really play the beta too much, so I actually have really not seen much of this map firsthand. So this is kind of my first exposure to it, aside from the the intro videos when we unveiled it and whatnot. Who Are You now? Just gonna get pressured out.
Yeah, so the opening area...
Architect is leading.
You have a lot of this high ground to play through on the left side, but you got to play through these opening streets as well, which kind of reminds me of a lot of the Dorado type of design, especially towards the end. Way to get the opening on Irony. In this particular meta, though, Achilles is still just everything on the ground, so...
I'm seeing that. Clean up Void going to be, yet again, it's just, a one casualty fight here for the side of the Dragons, who do manage to win it out in the end. Bernard's, or rather Void, just going to be joining back in. Bernard just now respawning. We'll continue to push forward.
2 more corners, and then with that, high ground, this kind of last bridge location already starting to be taken. Is pressured by the Shanghai Dragons. Oh, that is a disgusting execution. Wow.
Okay. Yep, okay. Well, there's a shutdown. Who Are You? I mean, this is how he started off on Control Center. He's doing it again at the start of this fight. Now Bernard kind of corralled away. Just managed to join back in with the rest of the squad. Oh, all right. And he's got the dash. He's got the dash anyway, even if he needed it. And yeah, he does need it. He's going to pop it. That's going to be the sound barrier dropped in by Lee Jae-gon. The rally now rolling from Irony. Looks like they're going to try to hold their own beat for a little bit longer. As long as they possibly can use it in response to the Dragon Blade whenever Who Are You does decide to pull that. Rally now rolling from Mizuyaki. Blades coming through from both of these Genjis. Architect finds himself in the back lines, but he's not finding himself a kill. Finally does get one, but again, the trade-up is just massive from the side of the Dragons. They lose 2 this time, but continue to win out. They get the cap on B. Now we will enter into the club with 5 minutes in the time bank.
I mean, such good supporting to keep Lip alive there. I mean, that's something that, unfortunately, the Hangzhou haven't been able to do a lot for Shy, but you see Lip, he gets 2 slashes from Architect, 2 shots from the Dragon Blade, doesn't go down, now gets killed by Shy on the opening of the C point offense, or rather defense for the side of the Hangzhou Spark. Void had advanced position. He's going to have to give that up now.
They're pulling back, but right now Hangzhou Spark kind of grouped up. I thought maybe Void would find an opportunity to go for the Rampage, but it says it does hold on to that. Given the...
I think his team might have been too far behind.
Is this Shy getting lapped? He didn't have an initial oath clock, did he? Is this his first one? Because he just got it available.
Possibly. I didn't actually pay attention to whether he ulted or not, so you could be right. You could be right.
I want to say this is his first. So at least as far as the timing goes, you know, it's not great that he's been kind of getting shut down as much, but could find a decent little window of opportunity to couple in alongside Bernard's Rampage. Just wait and see, though.
Here we go.
There it is. Catch on the 2. Void and Lee J. Khan both going to get tagged up and antied out. And it's just the Dragon saying, okay, back away. They leave the club.
Yeah, I can confirm that's his first ultimate because looking at his damage numbers, it's about how much it would cost to get one ultimate. So here comes the Rampage from Void, catching the shooting 2.
Okay, the Axe not going to connect, but still did get the anti out on the 2. Bernard narrowly staying alive. The commanding shout just offering up a little bit of grenade HP. Shy now finally using that overclock. Does manage to find some level of value by taking down Lee J. Gon, but Lip will get the punish immediately thereafter. And once more, it's just sack one player, win the fight, cart moves forward. Shanghai Dragons, they take that deal any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, the time should be pretty reasonable here. We're about in last fight territory now. We're fresh out of ultimates for both teams, but Izayaki is just that much closer. Also, Huayu's general neutral play is just beyond amazing that we've seen so far. So
yeah,
won't take him too long to not only catch up the Arctic, but overtake him as well. And he's done that.
Just wait and see. Is that aforementioned rally does come through from Izayaki. Lip under a little bit of pressure. Architect chasing in, trying to get that elimination, but hasn't been able to confirm it. Now Lip back up to full HP. Super Rich, however, will find Who Are You. It's going to give Architect a little bit more wiggle room if he can stay alive. Because right now it's just he, Shy, and Super Rich against the world, trying to persevere. Jigon drops the beat, offers some shielding here to the 3 remaining members of the Shanghai Dragons. They push forward. Architect going to be shoved back away, killed off, and now it's just Bernard as they will stream out of here one after the other, but everybody just gets picked off. Into the meat grinder. They end up falling. It's 2.5 minutes here at the end of Paraíso for the side of the Dragons as they complete the push.
Bernard falling early in that last fight as well. Just Spark can only do so much to hold on. Even with defender spawn advantage, you just can't get players out quickly enough. They've taken down Shy and a bunch of other members there as well. You see Super Rich dying at about, I think, 97% ult charge. When I shout out the number 97, that's what I meant. So, you know, just small timings. You know, could have had the sound barrier. That could have been a difference maker, but Shanghai Dragons will just take them down in time. 229. We don't have a lot of data on this map to kind of discern what is and is not a good time, but it does seem like a fairly long-ish map to me. So I think 229 is probably reasonable. I think anything you know, close to 3 minutes is probably fine. So this is good. I mean, considering I think it's not uncommon to see teams getting full held on A. That's something I actually did notice in reasonable amount again, not just, you know, looking at Overwatch League, but looking across into contenders, multiple regions as well. It's like a lot of teams struggle on A just because the defending positions are so good. You have so much fallback. You can play so much further forward than a lot of, you know, maps A points. And it's very well protected. That's why you're just going to start on the Echo here as well, because it's, and that's a pretty safe pick to start out on, just because of the high ground, low ground that you can abuse on that opening area.
Oh. Who are you?
As long as you don't die to the
Getting away from that shot. Yeah, doesn't get picked. Going to be safe for now. See how he fares. Taking to the skies. The thing that does give me some level of concern is that, you know, just yesterday watching Spark play on Midtown versus the Dynasty, it was, you know, another 5-minute plus time bank going into the final stretch. They drained it down by about 3 minutes, and we say, okay, yeah, overall it's a pretty good hold. But it wasn't good enough for them to be able to get a win in the end.
Spark
so they need to have a stronger performance here, and okay. Well, I don't, it's all over the place. It's basically what it is. Lip as well, now having to slide off that high ground. Pulls back to safety, but the rest of his team still very much suffering. 3 kills, Lip now getting ready to fall as well. Will answer one back onto Bernard. Let's see, is that going to be good enough? Because Void is still playing forward. He is still very healthy, but as I say it, he ends up just getting absolutely obliterated. So Lip in the end, trying to stay alive, won't be allowed to do so. Quick little deflected. It should be the cap coming in unless the Dragons go for a very Hail Mary contest.
They need Void. I think you can't really contest without him.
Yeah.
You don't even have the Genji to buy time here because who I use on the Echo. And at this sort of point, after you lose A, I actually think it's better to go towards the Genji. And I think, again, the Echo is fine for A. But when we talk about who are you, we talk about how good he is on the Genji, you talk about the fact that his neutral play is great. Losing that did feel like it was a bit of a factor. So despite Hangzhou Spark having a bit of a mishmash of positioning on the opening attack towards the bridge, they made the Chaos work.
They did. Izayaki again, taken down. Super Rich able to find that kill. Lip sliding away, relocates to a different rooftop, and who are you will be able to find an initial little pickup here. As you can see the cart just now moving out of the point A position. Can't start advancing forward here as the Dragons widely do just pull back away.
The difference between Dragons attacking and defending here versus what Spark were doing is Spark kind of lost a very critical fight around here, which almost cost them the point. Shy getting Who Are You down is a very nice opening. But there are ultimates coming online now for Shanghai Dragons. Can they pull some of that out to at least force Hangzhou Spark to respond with ults? Because now we're on last fight.
Going to be trailing behind. Yeah, pretty much. The 35% to go now to try to get that duplicate available. And granted, he can just use the dupe on Architect, and then he's playing Genji again, but kind of having to agree with you. I think the Genji might just be better from the outset. What a shutdown that is. Lip sliding up onto the high ground, another overclock shot across. Gets Shy in the head. Finds a second kill, looks to the third. Who Are You will take it for himself. Izayaki once more is going to fall, but this time it seems like that snowball effect is not going to be available for the side of the Hangzhou Spark. They will at long last be held in place by the side of the Dragons. They put their feet down for just a brief little moment. We'll see how long it lasts.
And yeah, this is where, even with Who Are You on the Echo, not quite getting the same output as he would on the Genji here, Lip has really stepped up, right? He's getting final blows, he's got great damage, 27 elims as well, 9 final blows. 27 elims really just says that he's participating in the kills. He's not necessarily picking up every single kill, but his kill participation super high. It's 27 out of a total 33, so he's right up there. And now they get the situation where they can actually start getting a reasonable hold on B. They force a reset on the Hangzhou Spark. Both teams have ultimates. Importantly, now we finally get the duplicate.
Commanding shot already burned there from Bernard. Be on cooldown for the moment as he tries to get the Rampage. He and Void pretty much been neck and neck the entire way throughout so far. As the dupe's going to come in. Okay. Actually goes for the Brigida. I'm not sure if that was a misclick or if this is what he wanted. Either way, having an additional rally in the fight, certainly not going to be a bad thing by any metric. But yeah, he's trying to get into range of somebody. Finally, we will manage to get on top of Architect. So I don't think we're going to be seeing that rally here. Gets 7% away before the dupe will expire. Now just goes back into his Echo form, and with the beam will help take down Bernard and Irony. So once more, the fight going to be won by the side of the Dragons, locking this cart in place at least for the time being.
It's so important that they can force the reset in this specific position because they have so much now defensive room to play with. You can see, this greenhouse sort of balcony portion here, this sort of deck portion. They also have the bridge right behind them, so they have fallback positioning that they can work with. So much extra place to, play with that the Hangzhou Spark have to dislodge before they can even begin touching the payload.
Okay, Rampage through, and it's absolutely massive, a lot larger than I thought it was going to be. Flips on the 4, Izayaki the only one able to avoid it. He has the rally in response, but I don't know if they're going to be able to win out the fight from here. They have a singular kill so far, they're looking for a little bit more. Shy just continues to slide away, keeping himself just out of reach, but given the space bought, remaining members of the Dragons who did get picked off, they're going to be rejoining here. Go ahead and reinforce the 3 remainers. See if they can continue to just hold this here. Now, a minute and 35 seconds remaining.
Well, you're back on the Genji now. Obviously, he had a little bit of extra ult charge swapped over from the Echo. Architect way further ahead, so this is a situation where Hangzhou, they're just kind of chilling until they can find either a pick or some ultimates coming online, maybe one of the support ultimates. Lip's waiting to pull that trigger as well. This is a very big slowdown currently from the Hangzhou Spark. As the payload has paused with a minute 15 left.
This ends now.
First couple shots not connecting. That one goes through Architect's chest, but it's not the kill that they're looking for. They need to try to zone him back. Lip using one of his own. Just keeping them at bay for now. Ult going to expire. Architect's blade just 7% away. Who Are You considerably further out? Lip taken down. Architect dives into the back, and that's going to be the blade ready to go. Sound barrier from Lee Jake on. Trying to keep the rest of the 4 members alive. Still a good amount of damage going forward as Void is consistently getting chunked down around half HP. It seems like they're going to really struggle to try to top him back up. Who Are You now falling? That is the lion's share of the damage now eliminated. The cleanup is there, and the cap will inevitably come through here for the side of the Hangzhou Spark. But crucially, the time bank has been drained down. Quite a bit. So they're starting in 2 minutes for this final stretch.
And they could get reset again here as well. You have to remember, the Shanghai Dragons, when they're on this same position, there was only that one minor reset where They pushed up
Yeah.
quite far forward. I can't remember who actually died. It might have been, don't have no idea. But then Void had to, was not Void because he ended up falling back right from that advanced positioning, and then the Shanghai Dragons had to sort of re-push in. So beyond that, Shanghai had almost a one attempt all the way through C, and with only about 1/3 remaining now for the Hangzhou Spark, this has got to be pretty flawless. I think they can only afford maybe one reset.
Yeah. Don't want to be playing for the draw. Oh, Architect already getting picked off. I mean, I believe that was a rail into a dash from Who Are You. Maybe he just took him down solo. Either way, the damage is done. Answered for, but just had to faster run back here.
We'll just wait out the rally. I think that's reasonable. Do lose a bit of time for that
Yeah.
one. Bernard's trying to walk forward though. Half HP had to shift.
Okay, another shout used. Is Yaki going to be eliminated? Lee Jing on as well. Cut down. Architect managing to get on top of the enemy. Lucio finds that kill. And that's going to be them breaking through, finally being able to get this cart rolling through the club.
Still ultimates online for Dragons though, so they win a fight in a way where they don't end up forcing anything out. I think Dragons, once we get towards the end, and time is relevant here, if there's a big fight where Dragons get a lot of value on their ultimates, there won't be any time left to push anymore. We're into OT very, very soon. So, Blade, Rampage versus Rampage. Nobody has a support ultimate. The Rampages will probably decide it.
Needs to be clean from here. See if they can make it happen. The support ult's not far off. Irony is super
They're not
rich.
pushing
Both
anymore.
Gonna be racing. Yeah, they're just gonna be trying to get those, but the rollback is starting to come through, as you say. Anti out, on to 4, now looking for the follow-up kills. Who Are You? Draws the blade, dashes down, finds Irony, gets into the back. Shy, taken out. That might just be it. The team wipe as the time bleeds down, and yeah, Bernard, he had the Rampage in his pocket, but unfortunately will not get the opportunity to use it. And again, it's just shades of Midtown from yesterday. The Dragons make it to the end with a somewhat respectable time bank. Spark, they buy time on the defense, but when it comes down to the push itself, they can't make it to the end. A 2-0 lead now netted for the Dragons.
It's just struggling to find the right fight in that final engagement. All they have is a Rampage versus a Rampage Blade. And you also just see, by the way, the difference maker, Who Are You back on the Genji makes. I think just the fact that the Blade is so much better than the duplicate is a lot of value in and of itself. But beyond that,
Sure.
Genji's general neutral kit is very strong. So Hangzhou Spark, they got Rampage first. Bernard couldn't find the counter Rampage. And that would be it, because the Blade with the extra bleed damage and all the antis on, 4 members. Hangzhou Spark, they did a reasonable job to even get that far in C, but I think the map was out of their hands considering how long it took them to even cap B.
Well, Dragons now with a 2-0 lead, just one more map away from being able to close this series out and potentially deliver us, another 6-0 start, at least for the evening. Of course, there is one more series coming up after this, but can somebody put a stop to it? Can somebody, please, put a series into our hands? I am begging you. It is our favorite thing as commentators, but for now, it doesn't look to be the case. Hangzhou Spark, they have one more chance to fight back and try to get the ball rolling on yet another necessary reverse sweep for them just 2 days in a row. We'll see if they can make it happen as we go back to very familiar territory in Watch Point Gibraltar, and that's coming up in just a few. And we are back, and right now it looks like the Dragons are going to be able to take us to yet another 3-0 victory. The Hangzhou Spark getting close, but just not quite being able to cut it. They have one last opportunity now to deliver a series to us on Watchpoint Gibraltar. If they can't make it happen, then yeah, it's just going to be yet another swift evening, despite the fact that we still have a third series coming up after this.
And I think we can talk about the Spark in the context of, like, they're kind of competitive, but it's not enough. They're not competitive in the sense where I'm feeling like, oh, maybe they should have won this map. Maybe they could have won that round of Lijiang. That to me wasn't the case, because even when we go back to Lijiang in moments where we kind of nitpick away at Dragons saying, oh, they could have done this better, or this looked like a mistake from Dragons, even in their worst moments, the game wasn't out of their control. It was still within their grip, and that's the difference for me, is when Dragons lose, I'm not convinced they're about to lose the entire round or the entire map just yet, because they are just so in control. And the same thing on our last map, Paraíso, where even when it looked like, okay, well, Hangzhou cap A, they're kind of getting some good distance on B, the time looks good, you're like, well, Shanghai are just one good reset away from burning the timer down to almost nothing. That exactly happens. We go to C, and not much more development from Spark on C. So we head into Gibraltar now, our potential third and final map. And I did also say as well, for Dragons, if they want to prove they can be top dogs in this meta, in this region, in the upcoming tournament, Summer Showdown, Seoul Dynasty are looking pretty damn good at the moment. Shanghai have to look even better.
Well, that they certainly do. Let's see, though, how they fare, because once more it is going to be the Hangzhou Spark starting off on the defense. Attack there for the side of the Dragons. Can they slow them up yet again and stop them from finishing on Gibraltar? That is the question. That's what we're looking to find out.
And the tale of how we working around Hangzhou Spark and Shy at the moment as well, because opening map, double the amount of deaths compared to any other member, extremely hard targeted. I think he had a lot more freedom to play through, and part of that reason is because Huayu wasn't on the Genji for that defense rate, so a lot of the pressure being put into Shy. Yesterday from Stalk on the Genji, today from Huayu's Genji, but if he's on the Echo, Shy's allowed to get a lot more breathing space, which he did actually have on Paraíso. So with Huayu back on the Genji now, straight away you can see he's targeting Shy. Shy should be very wary about that.
Playing right up above him right here. This cart gets just on the downward dip. Down into the underpass. Architect, whoa, man. What a swift exit from him. An unnecessary one. Narrowly escapes. I think 23 HP left there on his HP bar. Now, they buy themselves enough space to go ahead and at least move the cart up to the top of the ramp. Architect again just dipping down for just a brief moment to keep it contested.
Shanghai could rotate here. They're going to go for a full 5v5.
Oh.
Hangzhou dropped in.
Okay. Yeah, Spark just diving down within. It's going to be a trade out on the Brigidas. Irony and Izayaki do both fall. Shy just pulling back away as swiftly as he can. They'll let the ready Dragons just go ahead. Give themselves some space. They know they need to get Izayaki back in with us.
Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. Like, Dragons, they probably don't want to take a fight in the car wash. Hangzhou are happy to drop on top of them with a high ground advantage before Shanghai. They would like to rotate out of that position before starting the fight. So now they can drop down, keep payload under control, and now we force everything onto the neutral ground.
Okay, sound barrier dropped in first here from Lee Jae-gon. Quite a lead as far as the ults are concerned. They're over super rich, and for you, utilizes the shielding to get on top of Architect, find the opening kill in the fight. His little deflection denying the rail, dashing through. Super rich down low. Still managing to play a little bit elusively, just hopping around in the stairwell, but eventually does get clipped. And it's 4:45 now as the hangar gates open, and Lee Jae-gon, I mean, he is just all the way in the back, and he's actually going to kill Shy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's big because it's a... Yeah, like I said, it's going to be a stagger kill, so it gives Shanghai Dragons a lot more space to play through, but more importantly, look at this now, taxing Void on towards the shuttle. This is the most difficult position on the map to play through as an attacking team on the Junker Queen, because you can't take high ground, so you have to manually take this high ground by kind of snowballing forward if you can. Only one player needs to make that push happen, so it was Huayu now Lee Jae-gon will swap down instead. And if you're Burner, you have to kind of fight into the shuttle now, and this is a little bit difficult, it can be tricky. I believe there's a player on top as well, that was Void.
Okay. Overclock at the ready, lip sliding, quick tap, Irony dead, 3 kills picked up here for this side of the Dragons. As the cart right now through the hangar face, just not being slowed up whatsoever. Just consistently pushing forward, and now this could lead to even more split spawn punishments.
Bad spawns.
Bernard's
not there.
the only one. They will just be managing to jump off the side of the map. Everybody else, though,
Oh, man.
not going to be able to get such a nice fate. They will just go ahead and end up getting picked off.
That has got to be the most unlucky thing for the Hangzhou Spark as well, because the timing of the respawns specifically meant that the only player that didn't get the forward spawn was Burner. And so 4 players ended up getting what normally is considered here to be the bad spawn when you're getting snowball. You don't be caught there. So you can't take a fight. If Burner was there, maybe you could take a fight, but because he's not, you kind of have to just send your body off the cliff or try and die quickly. That was very unfortunate.
Okay, Rampage. Let's manage to find 2. Super Rich and Bernard both going to be falling low. And should stay alive for a considerable amount of time. And Void's going to be forced on the high ground, dropping down, moves over, grabs the Mega Pack. Super Rich now going to be finished off. Rampage from Bernard. Finding 2. Void and Izayaki both low. The blade pulled from Architect gets pushed, booped away. Lee Jae Gon gets right on top of him, just makes sure that he can't find any additional value.
No!
And everybody else just rotates the card to the finish. It's a great bamboozle. They've been distracted.
And Shai tried, he's on 1 HP, tried to slide on in, but unfortunately those DMs are not open, sir. The Shanghai Dragons, you see Izayaki rallying, he gets pushed off from the high ground because of the blade from Architect. By the way, great boot from Lee Jae Gon to disrupt that blade, otherwise he would have had the second slash to Izayaki, which would have had the kill. And had Izayaki died, could have been a different story, but Izayaki drops down, he goes straight to the payload, and just starts escorting the payload to the literal finish line. Hangzhou Spark is still trying to take that fight. I mean, I can't blame them. They're trying to take a fight. It is what it is. But yeah, I think I was even caught by that C9 as well. Like I didn't even realize the payload was that close to finishing.
Neither did I. I mean, this was just a great heist pulled off here from the side of the Dragons. I mean, it's like Ocean's 11 when somebody moves out. Like, you know, Matt Damon goes and he distracts Terry Benedict, so he's not paying attention to the security in his casino, and then they just rob him completely. And as you know, the vault is empty. The cart gets pushed. 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Oh, and that is
right there.
Like, given how everything has gone, as Void tries to figure out this jump, given how everything has gone so far for the Hangzhou Spark, that losing in that manner, having this push happen, is going to be mentally taxing.
Yeah, it's
this is one that's so difficult to bounce back from.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, this is just such a hard. To give some context of how fast the 412 time bank is. That is currently, because I've already got Stats Lab open, without including anything from this year, based on every other season 1 to 4, that is the 5th best time of all time based on seasons 1 to 4.
Oh. Something about points here, Gibraltar, and playing on the card. Seen other teams such as the Fuel jump clean over it, not contested, end up losing maps because of it. Some kind of disease that has infected
there are kills
the
to be
brains
had,
of the Overwatch players.
If there are kills to be had and fights to be taken, then damn the payload, huh?
Yeah.
So
I'm here for blood, not for victory.
I was going to say, is this is a very interesting defensive strategy as well. You'll notice Hangzhou's defense started on the high ground for A, Shanghai starting on the low ground. They're just dueling on the payload, live with the opening first blood.
Yeah, commanding shout usage, just try to get everybody out of here to safety. Architect still falling low. Izayaki gets him with a whip shot, so go ahead and get the final punish. Headshot at the ready, not going to hit there from Lip. He'll just slide away. I mean, Izayaki just picked up 3 kills. Saw Prophet's performance yesterday on Midtown. I want to do that.
At this point in the Chengdu Dorado game, I gave you a fun fact. Would you like another fun fact?
Get ready.
By all means.
Okay. At this point on Gibraltar, Hangzhou Spark have only 1 final blow, and that's from Shine. That's it. The entire team has not had a single kill except for Shine at this point in the game.
So Shy putting on a Leave-esque performance here for his squad.
He's currently 100% deadlifting.
Well, we'll keep tabs on that for all of you lovely people at home. For now, okay, Irony does manage to find 1. So now it's a 50-50 between the 2 of them. Shy will end up falling. Lip just quickly cleaning up the rest. So the second kill found in the fight, but the cart widely locked in place. 2 minutes remaining on this push, and no sign of hope.
What I like about the way Shanghai is defended, and they can easily go between the high ground and the low ground here, is that because they started on the low ground, they understand that most Jungle Queen teams probably want to push us 5 through the car wash, and Dragon's just there to meet them. And they're being very flexible about the situation as well, because now that they've reset the payload back towards the kind of high ground, I think Dragon's just probably waiting for the Hangzhou Spark to stack as 5. Now they drop on top of them again as their own 5 with 3 ultimates up. So
just waiting for their moment to drop down. They give a little bit of a breathing room over to them. Okay, yeah, they're rotating it. They have found Void, or has Void found them? They all corral in, but the collapse from the side of the Dragons is just too damn good. They all move forward. The Blade finds some kills, and they're staggering a Junker Queen. This is what's happening. This is where we're at.
They're so far ahead. They are so much better. They are staggering a Junker Queen. Excuse me? Why you just touched the spawn door.
He's like, if I run at it fast enough, I think I can break through. He's like one of those lunatics who go to King's Cross in London. They think they can break into platform 9 3/4.
Question. Okay, that's another kill. I was going to seriously ask a question. Is this more one-sided than the Chengdu Seoul Dorado? Now with 3 frags, you'd say this is a little bit more competitive, but only by 1 kill.
Okay, well, now by another one. Architect gets lit, Bernard finds Void, and yet again, it seems like the Dragons are getting a little too silly. We saw this a bit yesterday. They play forward, they get punished, but they have time to come back in here to recontest this. Lee Jae-gon's going to come flying out of here like a bat out of hell. He's going to jump onto the cart. He's got the sound barrier ready to go. You know that they're going to play for this. The question is, can the Spark fight back?
Well, Spark have 3 ults, but they're going to use them all. I think Spark can't take any chances here, so...
Okay, Lee Jae-gon, I mean, he delays. The Blade is out for a little while there. Somebody's going to have to touch the cart. So far, nobody has, and they get the contest there at the very last few seconds. Anti-out, on to 3, the Rampage. Hoping to set that one up. Who are you, the first to fall? The support staying alive for a little bit longer, but in the end, Super Rich gets Lee Jae-gon, and now the clamp will be there. They get the team kill, they get the cap. 2.5 minutes added to the time bank. The Spark not out of it yet.
Yeah, so no, it's not as one-sided as Chengdu Seoul and Dorado is the answer to that question, but that did cost the Spark everything. So as I said, they're going to be desperate to cap. They will have to use their entire ult bank there. It's a 2 to 3 ult trade, which favors Shanghai Dragons. Again, Dragons don't need a full hold and embarrass the Spark here. Their goal is just to win the map in any regard, so they're setting up themselves in an economical state to achieve that.
All right, overclock here on the high ground. Being used. I'm just kind of whittling away at them. Hasn't gotten a kill yet, but as this deflect ends, Architect is in a bad spot, and well, it won't be the rail shot that kills him. It's a little bit of Mouse 1 fire coming through. Sound barrier going to be used by Super Rich. They still want to try to take this fight right here, right now, despite the fact that they don't have a man advantage. Void pressured for just a moment, but the healing comes in. They find stability. Cart going to be held. Rail shot not going into the head. Can't take down Lee Jae-gon.
Oh,
now,
no.
Rally is just going to be canceled. Irony loses it. Dashler into the back. Who are you? Is just getting resets for days.
And they're not done.
The third eye's open. The Jagan eye is there. He's EA.
They were looking for Irony. They're like, how far into spawn can we chase? No, okay, we better back out. All right, let's see what's going on. 1 minute remaining here. Blades of it. That was without the blade, by the way. No blade. Now he has the blade. If you thought that was good, wait for the blade.
Oh man. Oh.
Izayaki hiding. Crouching Izayaki. Hidden. He was both crouching and hidden. So.
Lee Jae-gon, I mean, he's just out in the open. He's just wall riding. He's like, yeah, who's gonna kill me? Other than Shy with a really, really great rail shot.
You got it.
Lose him. Dive to the back. The Blade gonna get pulled out. Loses himself for just a moment. Loses his target, but it's okay. Izayaki's there for the alley-oop. Plays off the setup damage. Bernard, however, still will pressure out Void, taking him down. The dash in. Catches the rest of the players. Barrier shielding, keeping them alive for a little bit longer, but have they overstepped once more? Who are you? Doesn't seem to think so. Does find a kill, but now is in a bit of a rough position as they have to wait for the reinforcements to come through. Architect pulls a blade of his own. The rally's there for Izayaki, and he shuts him down! He was so low, but he gets a whip shot. And again, she's out of the fight. Irony now stuck to the card, trying to bring it forward as we move into overtime, and Bernard gonna be taken out. Irony dead. Who are you? Just scooping up the kills. And this time, they won't even be able to make it into point B. They will just halt them here in the hangar, bleeding them dry. Shanghai Dragons. Whew, what a team. What plays. They managed to close out the series 3-0.
Yeah. And I think the bigger question for me, the overarching question was, okay, they beat the Guangzhou Charge, rather. We'll get to the Spark. Beat the Guangzhou Charge yesterday 3-0. And you know, you could make the comment to say, well, yeah, they just beat the Guangzhou Charge. I mean, well, that's probably not a gigantic achievement for Dragons. 3-0 there, probably not unexpected, but you know, let's see them do it versus a better team. Hangzhou Spark are a much better team, even without Alpha Yi, even in this sort of state right now. Given that Spark are top 3 of the standings, were top 2 before Dragons went 2-0 so far this weekend. This is not a weak team. They might be struggling a little bit here, but you know, Spark are one of the better teams we have in the region. So if Dragons can do this versus one of the better teams now, I mean, they're right at the top of the table for me, next to the Seoul Dynasty in terms of their read and handle in this meta. A lot of that comes down to how good Huayu's been on this Genji, but beyond that as well, you know, Void's Junk Queen has been phenomenal, and Lips really made an incredible sort of comeback on this Sojin, where he struggled at the start of the year. He didn't play that much Sojin in Kickoff Clash. In Mid-Season Madness, he started to get into the groove of it, but still never really felt comfortable. Yesterday, again, after winning, he tweeted he didn't feel like he'd had a good game, but today, I think he did have a good game. I hope he feels that he had a good game as well, because he is our player of the match, and in moments where, especially you look at Paraiso, where Huayu decided to get off the Genji. Maybe it was a team decision to play the Echo instead, and we felt like the lack of the Genji, first of all, gave Shy a lot more room to play with, but also just allow the Hangzhou Spark to get through a reasonable chunk of that attack. Lip was holding down the fort, even when Huayu wasn't getting it done on the Echo.
And I mean, we already talked about this a bit yesterday. You know, I think even before the matches had all completely finished up, but we look forward to the rematch between the side of the Shanghai Dragons and the Seoul Dynasty, regardless of meta. But right now, given the proficiency that both teams are showing, especially with the experimentation that Dynasty have done with their roster, putting Prophet back onto the Brigitte, something that he hasn't played in many, many years, I am anticipating this clash between these two Titanic teams so much more than I thought before. It's something that we actually didn't catch before. I had a sense of it. I was like, I think Super Rich lost a beat somewhere in there. Went back, rewound, but we didn't really get an opportunity to talk about it because there's just so much other stuff going on. Huayu was dashing into the spawn room and whatnot. Like they were just camping the ever-loving crap out of the Hangzhou Spark. But yeah, we did have another Ajax there set up by Lip himself.
So it just adds to the accolades. I actually missed that one as well, but like I said, things just moved so quickly in that particular game. And they got to the stage where, you know, the crazy stat line that I had on Gibraltar at the start of the attack for the Spark on A, half the map had gone. They only had one final blow to their name. It was almost identical to the Seoul Dragons. Oh my god, I'm just getting the wrong. Seoul Chengdu game. I'm already getting ahead of myself. Yeah. I want to see Seoul Dragons so badly. It's on my brain. The Seoul Chengdu game on Dorado was looking pretty tragic. So now that out of the way, you know, we have both of our top 2 teams in this particular meta, in this stage, kind of eyeing up each other from a distance. I got to check the calendar actually of when we're going to get that game, because it's on the last day. It's the final match of APAC. Week 18. Oh. So we are literally finishing the qualifier with our El Clasico, Seoul versus Shanghai. So you're gonna have to stay patient. That one's still coming a while off in the distance.
Well, whoever designed that schedule, good job. You know how to just end it all with a bang ahead of the tournament cycle there. But yeah, that's definitely one to book calendars for, I think, well in advance, because you definitely want to make sure that you're tuning in for that one. But, well, we'll have to unpack a couple more things here. Talk about, you know, maybe that long off, you know, hypothetical matchup between these two squads in the Dynasty and the Dragons. We'll talk a little bit more about the Hangzhou Spark and, you know, what these losses mean for them and whatnot when we come back, because we will have our game break. So don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
All right, we are back. It's time for our game break. Let's talk a little bit more about what we just witnessed here in our second series between the Hangzhou Spark and the Shanghai Dragons. Once more, it feels like a very similar tale to what we saw in many different ways, I think, from just yesterday with the Spark versus the Seoul Dynasty. Incredibly close, some back and forth maps there to start things off on Ilios. And then steadily it kind of just starts to unravel from there with the Spark not being able to finish on hybrid and escort maps.
I think, even the early signs were there, even on Lijiang Tower, because at least versus the Seoul Dynasty, they got that one round that Ilios, I'm trying to remember which exact round it was, but it was listed on sort of 2-1 finish for Seoul instead of just a 2-0 finish like we had here. This definitely was a pretty clean game from Dragons all up. I know there's a little bit of nitpicking here in terms of small things that, small mistake that Dragons can and have made, but the overarching sort of sentiment that I've sort of had and mentioned a couple times now is that the game at any point, not at any point across all three maps, ever felt like it was out of the hands of Dragons. So they were in control. I think that maybe the only concerning part for the Dragons was the Echo portion. Now, I don't mind Echo on A as a bit of a off-meta choice, but I think specifically for a team like Dragons, where Guayu does so much for you on the Genji, taking him off the Genji just changes your team entirely. So yeah, I think that was maybe the only sore spot for me on this entire day for Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, it was just incredibly clean the whole way throughout. I mean, we did see, Dragons getting a little bit overzealous, much like we saw from them yesterday versus the Charge, where they do go a little bit too far forward. They play up right in front of your spawns, and then, they end up getting punished. They have to go for a reset. Spark are able to cap A off the back of that, etc., etc. But it just shows the lack of real concern that they're playing with, how little they are worried about potentially having this snowball out of control and, give the Spark away back in. They're playing with so much confidence, saying like, oh yeah, even if we do get wiped in the cap A, it's fine, we'll just hold it with the next point. So, yeah, just an incredibly comfortable series, I think, is safe to say here, in both of them, from the side of the Shanghai Dragons, looking very much at home in this meta. But it's time to see our last two squads that we have not gotten a first glance at yet so far, and we'll go ahead and get right into that one with the Valiant and the Fusion. Another quick little break before the action begins there, and we'll see who is going to be able to come out on top and whether or not we get just a 9-0 day. We'll see. Don't go anywhere. And we are back. It's time to go into our final series of the evening on this long, but not that much longer, long day. We have 3 matches here, now already going into the 3rd one, and we're pretty much keeping pace with what we just saw yesterday, given that we have had a 6-0 win so far from the side of the Dynasty and the Shanghai Dragons. Now the question becomes, can we get a 3rd? Can one of these 2 teams here at the bottom of the screen put up yet another 3-0 victory? It's the Valiant versus the Fusion.
For the sake of the Fusion, they're probably hoping that it's not going to be a 3-0. Because there's a non-zero chance that the Valiant could end up being 3-0. I actually think this could go to at least 4 maps. I'm hoping for the 5-map Giga Banger, though. This one, Valiant Fusion.
For all the marbles.
It's the 5-mapper, right? Huh? This has got to be the 5-mapper.
It could be. I mean, we've gotten away from, was it 5-map Friday? That was definitely not a thing just yesterday. So, got to do something
Else. Somebody's
got to change it up. Yeah. Well,
5-map Friday was mid-season only, 1 stage only, and it's gone.
Well, how the tides turn. But we'll see what happens as we wait for the players to get into the lobby and get ready to do battle. Because, yeah, I think this is a little bit of a puzzling one, just given that the Valiant have kind of been skirting around the edges or on the outskirts of the standings. They have looked quite good. They have taken some very close series despite the 3-9 scoreline, and obviously that's already an immense improvement over not winning a single damn thing last season. So they've shown that they can contend with some of the teams near the top. And for the Fusion, like you're saying, this is not a series that you can go into and be breathing easily about. You have to be concerned because you never know. Like, what has No Hill cooked up for this? Is my question. Like, what has he got? Is it just going to be stock standard? Is he going to pull a little bit of a Chengdu Hunters here and shake up the comps?
The most No Hill thing to do would actually just to be completely subvert expectations. You think he's going to do something crazy, but then he just plays like pure unadulterated meta, like no variation. As pure meta as possible. That would be a very No Hill thing to do. But you have to remember that with Chengdu kind of in the position they are, Valiant have an opportunity to catch up and overtake the Chengdu Hunters, which I think is possible in the stage.
Sure.
Beyond that as well, they did beat Fusion in the last meeting. It was a reverse sweep. They reverse swept the Fusion, and they have now 3 wins on board. 1 versus Chengdu, 1 versus Fusion, 1 versus the Guangzhou Charge. Fresh meta, fresh opportunities.
A lot of people probably ejected that memory from their brains, but yeah, you just dug it right back up.
Speaking of memory, and don't forget the Valiant also won Numbani last year versus the Fusion.
Oh, I can't forget that one.
I'm just going to keep bringing it up all the times Valiant did something versus the Fusion. And never talk about the times that Fusion beat the Valiant, because that's not relevant, so don't worry about it. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think you can't count the Valiant out here. Look, the expected result probably is that Fusion just do win. Because it is Zest Genji meta, right? There's no reason that Zest doesn't come through and just pound on the Genji. Becky on the other end is no slouch. I think Becky can be reasonable. Zest is definitely the better player, but Becky is shown to be a pretty reasonable Genji player in the past Valiant games that we have watched. EC Han has been an okay Sojin player as well. MN3 is mostly known for his Ashe and Widowmaker, and I actually do predict that maybe Fusion will run a bit of Ashe there. We saw Toronto Defiant run a lot of Ashe from Isu. I think that could be the case for MN3 on this squad. It's that, or MN3 doesn't play, and Carpe comes in to play the Sojin instead.
Oh, just have to wait and see what they piece together. I mean, for the other side, on the Valiant, who do we all see? I mean, you're talking about Becky, but obviously there's a good amount of benched players there that could come out. We'll see, though, as we dive into the starting
on 10! What?
Okay.
Wait, Sashin's on support. No, that's not true.
This is what I'm talking about. It's
No Hill season has started. No Hill season has started. You can't even see this.
How many hours?
We can see it. We can see it in the lobby, but Diaz has the biggest smile on his face right now. Oh my god, the Dia JQ is coming. Oh my god! And is it the Sashin Muso or the Sashin break? What is going on? Oh
How
my
many
god!
Hours
oh.
Did No Hill sit at his computer in a zen-like trance, meditating to come up with this?
This is the most No Hill thing in the world, and I'm here for it. I am here for it.
Oh my! Okay,
you know what? T is on the tank, and the tank players on the support. Oh,
I was already interested. I was already interested in this series. Obviously, like we weren't sure like what was going to happen. We don't know how the Valiant's going to look in this meta. I was already intrigued to see how this was going to go down. Now I'm really invested. Now I am very much on board, and I am excited to see what in the hell this looks like once they get into game.
This match, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. My goodness. I can't wait. For the Dia tank to come on through. Show me fully. Is it Carpe or is it MN3? That's what I want to know. Because there's a real chance Carpe does come to play.
I think they've already tweeted at it. I didn't take a glance at the roster, so we will be just as surprised as anybody else. It's going to be Carpe. Okay, so Carpe Zest is the DPS lineup. We will get to have Fury starting. And, then Aim God and Fixa to back him on. This is... I can't get over this. This is just going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think this is wild for Fusion. There's no real precedent to say who plays the Junker Queen, and that is now more true than ever. I think Dia looked over towards the NA teams, and he's like, well, Dante's playing a bit of tank. I might give that a go. I think I might just do that as well. So Dia will now be our second DPS player in the league, doing a bit of a role swap onto the tank rather. And on the side of the Fusion, Fury or Bellis Rhea, it just kind of comes down, right? It's hard to tell who ends up playing the Junker Queen. Sometimes it's the main tank player, sometimes it's the off-tank player. For the Fusion, it's going to be the off-tank player. Sometimes it's the DPS player for Valiant and the Houston Outlaws. And Carpe on the MN3. I think throughout the season, we have seen that when Sojin was relevant, Carpe generally has played a bit more Sojin and is the more typical player to be on that pick compared to MN3. So it is quite possible that unless there is a strong plan for Fusion to run an Ashe or a Widowmaker somewhere, Carpe is going to be starting in this meta over MN3.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to just wait and see. And even if it does become like a necessary pick mid-map or whatever because they need to counter, whether it's an Echo or a Pharah, something like that could be coming through. Carpe obviously has plenty of experience playing the Ashe himself. So it's not like it's going to be that detrimental having him in over MN3. Obviously, MN3 has been putting up incredible figures this year, so you probably would prefer to have him. But it's not like Carpe has to do something that is so foreign to him just to try to get an advantage back in mid-game. Let's go ahead in just a moment and take a look at the map set, see what we've got prepared, and maybe be able to spitball and see what things look like. I don't really even care what the Valiant does anymore. I'm just all in on it. So if they want to run a wild comp that isn't, that isn't the meta, I'm all about it. I don't care. They can do whatever they want. If they're gonna run the meta, I don't care. That's fine.